Arms sales by Western countries, most notably the US, have gained as much notoriety as Daesh terrorists have. That is the case, at least in the Middle East. Arms imports to the region have boomed over the past 5 years. A study by the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, SIPRI, says the imports have been fueled by wars and tensions in the regions. According to the study, in the period between 2013 and 2017, arms imports to the Middle East more than doubled, jumping by 103% compared with the previous 5-year period. But arms exporters do not care about this. Their justification: the weapons continue being produced because there are buyers for them.
Behind this, of course, stands what many countries have, not only the United States, what I call MIMAC, the Military Industrial Media Academic Complex. The military is obvious. The industry is obvious. There are elites, small number, but very important economically, military companies, because I have to emphasize that military companies are the only ones who gain from this trade. Generally, civil society in any country does not benefit economically from warfare. But those few countries which are huge, they of course earn a hell of a lot of money on arms exports. And then you have the media, which built enemy images, which support propaganda, and makes it legitimate or natural to export weapons to, the so-called good guys in a conflict.
The lion's share of the weapons supplies go to the US. The UK ranks second. American weapons are killing people in parts of the Middle East daily. They are used either by American forces themselves or by Washington's vassal states in the strategic region of the world. The most infamous example of where the arms are being used is Yemen. Though the US is not engaged directly in the war in Yemen, it's supplying the bulk of the arms purchased by Saudi Arabia, the regime which spearheads the war on the Arab world's most impoverished country. According to SIPRI, Saudi Arabia is the world's second largest importer of arms after India. And the US accounts for 61% of arms exports to Saudi Arabia and Britain for 23%. The US and Britain also benefit from tensions between regional countries. One example of this is the row between Qatar and Saudi Arabia. The US has sold the two Arab states huge quantities of military hardware since tensions between them began last year.
If you ask me what's the purpose of all this, I would guess that in 100 years from now, if we live that long, we will say, okay, in about 2016, they repeated the stupidity, the folly, the arrogance, the imperialism of 1916, namely the Sykes-Picot division of the Middle East. It is still divide and rule. There's nobody in the West who is trying to have a comprehensive plan for the future of the Middle East. Pumping in weapons is an absolutely 110% safe indicator that they do not want peace, because when you weaponize a conflict, when you give the good guys or the countries you're allied with weapons to kill somebody else, it is not for peace.
Some observers claim that Washington and London pursue some other agendas in the Middle East through their arms sales. On Friday, Britain and Saudi Arabia signed a multi-billion-pound order from Riyadh for 48 Eurofighter Typhoon fighter jets. The deal sparked heated debate and protests in Britain, where the NGO Save the Children placed a statue of a child near Parliament to draw attention to the ordeal of Yemeni miners, which is blamed on Saudi Arabia and its arms suppliers, namely the US and the UK. However, Save the Children and the like wield little or no influence over dynamics of foreign policy apparatuses in Western states, which decide to which country weapons must be sold.